Welcome to the Texas Education Agency's HB3 in 30 series. This video is about K-2 Diagnostics. We've got a jam-packed agenda for you today, and we'll begin with talking about the School Finance Commission's findings and changes HB3 makes in K-2 Diagnostics. We'll then focus it on kindergarten, first and second grade diagnostic tools, dyslexia screening, and professional development. Finally, we'll end with next steps. My name is Jake Kaversky, Media Relations Manager here at the Texas Education Agency, and I'm joined in the presentation today by Mary Allen, Program Specialist in Early Childhood Education, and Howard Morrison, Statewide Coordinator of Early Childhood Education. Also assisting in today's presentation is Jackie Porter, Statewide Director of Early Childhood Education. As you may have noticed throughout the HB3 in 30 series, HB3 provides multiple changes that support early reading proficiency. Both videos shown on this slide, Reading Practices and Special Education and Dyslexia, provide additional context regarding those supports. Additionally, improving early literacy requires knowledge of students' current understanding and of where we need further instruction. Effective diagnostics are a crucial support for reading instruction, and today's video builds upon this content regarding reading and focuses specifically on K-2 Diagnostic Tools. Having useful data empowers teachers, parents, administrators, policymakers, and other stakeholders. Furthermore, effectively collecting and analyzing data allows teachers to adjust instruction and ensure that they're meeting the needs of all students. The Texas Commission on School Finance made several recommendations related to continuous improvement. Recommendations include requiring LEAs to use the state's current KIA assessment tool to benchmark the efficacy of their pre-K efforts, and requiring LEAs to share their kindergarten readiness results with parents within 60 days of school. House Bill 3 reflects those recommendations and the changes that are now in statute. This slide illustrates the changes that are important to note in law for reading diagnosis for kindergarten 2 diagnostic tools. Prior to HB3, the Commissioner adopted a list of instruments for kindergarten, requiring 2 multidimensional tools and a list for Grade 1 and Grade 2 assessments. HB3 now requires the Commissioner to adopt a single multidimensional tool for kindergarten and provides the option to adopt one alternate tool. Multidimensional tools must include at least 3 dimensional domains, including literacy. The statute also directs the Commissioner to adopt rules to determine the performance levels that indicate kindergarten readiness. Finally, HB3 requires LEAs to provide a written report to parents within 60 days of administration of the diagnostic tool. HB3 also requires the agency to provide a kindergarten, Grade 1 and 2 diagnostic tool that is at no cost to the LEA.
Let's talk about what this looks like in a kindergarten classroom. Providing effective kindergarten experiences for our young learners places them on the right path for future schooling and life. Providing an effective kindergarten experience means having a qualified teacher in a rich environment with an abundance of instructional materials. Effective kindergarten also requires involving the family in the child's education, since parents are the child's first teacher. Finally, there should be a variety of methods for the teacher to deliver instruction to meet student needs. The kindergarten instructional settings on this slide allow for student support. Large group, small group, independent centers, and one-to-one instruction can be used to meet the individual needs of all students. The variety of settings allows for students to learn and practice content using multiple modalities. Small group and one-to-one instruction are settings where the kindergarten readiness diagnostic information is crucial. Students come to school with a wide variety of prior experiences and varying levels of background knowledge. Without having diagnostic information about each student's current level of functioning, grouping students becomes haphazard. Teaching becomes difficult when a small group lesson is planned without any accurate formative or summative data. This lesson on rhyming might be appropriate for 1 or 2 students, but not appropriate for others, and could result in students being lost or bored. In this scenario, we see that 2 students in this group are engaged and at the correct level, while others that are at different levels are not engaged. Using formative and summative data gives the teacher information about each student to help with planning and grouping. In this example, diagnostic information is now being used to differentiate instruction. Now we see that the students in the group are engaged in the lesson. This is differentiated for them, Gathering this data in the kindergarten year is important to determine student strengths and needs so that informed instruction is intentionally planned to meet individual needs. Early use of summative data from the diagnostic screener will establish baseline information. Continuing use of these tools throughout the year will show growth and needs so that the teacher will use data to provide instruction at the student's level.
Let's take a look at the existing kindergarten diagnostic tool landscape. Our current system has numerous approved tools, different domains within each tool, as well as various test formats and administration requirements that differ. All of these factors make it a challenge to obtain comparable data to evaluate programs, identify students' baselines, and measure growth of our young learners. While LEAs currently use a wide variety of diagnostic tools that make determining kindergarten readiness non-comparable from LEA to LEA. The wide varieties of instruments used in kindergarten have different cut scores for determining kindergarten readiness, making comparison difficult. The same student may be evaluated differently on each instrument, making the data confusing. The child will be scored on track if using instrument A and still developing if using instrument C. Another child might score in Tier 1 on instrument A for numbers and counting, but not be evaluated in numbers and counting by instruments C and D, as these instruments don't cover that domain. The benefits for having one statewide diagnostic instrument in kindergarten are helpful for multiple audiences. We will now have consistent, comparable methods for evaluation at the student, district, partnership, and state level. HB3 requires the agency to identify a single tool that helps teachers meet the needs of their students through data and analysis. In speaking to stakeholders, key components include it being a multidimensional tool that is easy to administer and has a quick screener. It should give the teacher immediate information, easy-to-use reports, and recommend next steps to inform instruction.
Let's explore how the new kindergarten diagnostic tool will be implemented in the fall of 2020. In order to satisfy HB3, a screener is being designed. This screener will take 5 to 7 minutes per child to administer and will designate if the child is kindergarten ready or not kindergarten ready. A parent report can then be generated to share with parents. Another exciting feature is that CLI Engage will be able to report district scores directly to TEA. All districts must use the TextKia BOY Wave 1 screener for kindergarten or the designated alternate diagnostic tool when available. We encourage you to sign up to pilot the new screener. We will provide a short webinar for training on screener administration. Help will also be available in creating accounts if your district does not already use the CLI Engage platform. The expectation of the pilot is that teachers administer the 5 to 7 minute screener to at least 5 students in late January or early February. Districts would decide how many of their teachers participate. As part of the pilot, we will collect teacher input to gather information to improve the final screener. Please click on the link and fill out the Qualtrics survey to get your name on the list if you are interested. We will also be conducting a competitive process to name an alternate instrument for kindergarten. Information will be released through a To the Administrator addressed letter before the end of December. Once you administer the screener to kindergarten students, teachers will know immediately if the student is kindergarten ready. No further summative measures need to be administered to this student in the areas of language and literacy during BOY. For students that are not kindergarten ready, LEAs may choose to complete further diagnostics in TextKia or the LEA-approved diagnostic tool to identify student strengths and needs to inform instruction. Let's dive deeper into TextKia to learn about how this can be accomplished. HB3 requires the agency to identify a single tool that helps teachers meet the needs of their students and allows an alternate. TextKia is the statewide diagnostic instrument for kindergarten. TextKia provides teachers with a holistic understanding of each student, enabling them to design differentiated instruction in order to better meet each student's unique needs and communicate those needs to families. TextKia is housed on the CLI Engage platform. Many districts are familiar with this platform due to the use of Circle Progress Monitoring in pre-kindergarten. TextKia is a multidimensional diagnostic of each student that supports informed, differentiated instruction and is a resource for families to engage in their child's development. It is not a high-stakes IQ or language proficiency diagnostic. TextKia offers 6 domains. The screener includes the domains of language and communication with vocabulary and listening comprehension, and literacy with emergent reading and emergent writing. These domains are required for all kindergarten classrooms. LEAs have the flexibility to choose any other domains that will help teachers inform instruction with TextKia. These are the full battery of subtests offered in TextKia. LEAs may use TextKia or another locally adopted tool to drill down into specific areas beyond the screener to identify strengths and needs. All subtests in TextKia are provided in Spanish as well. TextKia has multiple modes for student responses. Students selected and teacher recorded must be administered to students one-on-one and will require a computer and possibly headphones. Student written subtests are delivered in a small group, and any teacher checklists are completed after observation of the student by the teacher. As a reminder, please note only the language and literacy domains are required. STEM, social interaction, executive function, and academic motor skill domains are optional, and administration of these domains will be determined by the LEA. This slide also depicts which subtests are given in each domain and the variety of methods of collecting data. Once the diagnostic has been completed, TextKia provides easy-to-access reports and data that will help inform instruction. TextKia provides different reports for teachers, parents, and administrators. District reports are also available. These reports assist with individualizing instruction, illustrating classroom progress, and providing information for all stakeholders. Color coding of on track in green, monitor in yellow, and need support in red gives a teacher an easy-to-read visual and immediate information regarding individual students and the entire class. By clicking on View Groups at the top of the class page, students are grouped and interventions are suggested based on data. This graphic shows students that need monitoring or support in vocabulary or listening comprehension. If your district is going to use a different diagnostic instrument, you will still have access to these interventions on the CLI Engage platform in the Circle Activity Collection on the dashboard. More information about this resource will be part of the Reading Academy training. And here is one intervention that is suggested for vocabulary. It is tied to TEKS and provides a scripted lesson plan. Teachers using the TextKia can share student scores with families. The parent report that will be ready in the fall of 2020 will provide current student levels and suggest activities and resources for the family.
This next section will provide some considerations for districts and campuses to make decisions. Each LEA and campus will decide the who, what, when, where, and how to work together to complete the diagnostic tool. I am now going to walk through a hypothetical schedule that could happen in your district. In order to support the kindergarten teacher, staffing options should be considered that are the best fit for a campus. Teachers administer the diagnostic to a subset of students while others work at centers. During this diagnostic window, support from campus personnel, such as an instructional coach, counselor, AP, principal, or instructional aides, is recommended. When the diagnostic window closes, the schedule goes back to normal. The district is responsible for setting and communicating the annual schedule for BOI Wave 1, MOI, and EOI. Holidays, parent-teacher conference days, and other campus events need to be taken into consideration while scheduling. Emphasizing the importance of formative diagnostic practices throughout the year to teachers is key to understanding their overall role of using data to inform their instruction. First and second grade diagnostic tools are also affected by HB3. Let's take some time to go over those changes. Currently, there is a commissioner's list of acceptable diagnostic tools. HB3 requires that TA provide one no-cost option to diagnose reading development and comprehension. TPRI and Tejas Slay will be provided to school districts at no cost. TPRI is a robust diagnostic that includes a screener. New for next year, Tejas Ley will also include a screener. Both TPRI and Tejas Ley will include an inventory that streamlines the instrument, progress monitoring tools, and a universal screener for dyslexia to be administered during the MOI window. Prior to HB3, TPRI and Tejas Ley were not on the CLI Engage platform. TPRI and Tejas Ley will now be added to the CLI Engage platform and join Circle Progress Monitoring in TextKia. We will be conducting a competitive process to identify qualified, free instruments to diagnose reading for 1st and 2nd grade. Districts are not required to use one of these instruments. As with the process to name an alternate diagnostic for kindergarten, information will be released through a To the Administrator address letter before the end of December this year. HB3 also requires that the diagnostic tool has a universal screener for dyslexia. The Dyslexia Handbook lists the components on this slide that must be included on a dyslexia screener. The kindergarten dyslexia screener should be administered during the EOI window. The 1st grade dyslexia screener must be administered before January 31st during the MOI window. TextKia, TPRI, and Tejas Ley meet the dyslexia screener requirements. Training for use as a dyslexia tool will be covered in the reading academies. HB3 reading academies are going to be one of the primary vehicles that training for these diagnostic tools will be provided. There are 2 primary plans that will meet the statutory requirement, blended or comprehensive. Both models are crafted in the same core content, including both competencies and their demonstration. The comprehensive model is similar to the current reading academies, with 10 days of in-person sessions interspersed throughout 15 months and supported by job-embedded coaching. The blended model is a facilitated online course with opportunities for additional support and facilitation. While participants in the blended version may work at their own pace, participants will be required to demonstrate each competency to continue to move through the course modules. Both models must be offered by authorized providers who are responsible for ensuring that coaches and facilitators are effectively trained and supported. Training will also be provided to teachers and administrators during reading academies in the Competency 002 Foundations of Reading Assessment module. Additional resources, such as detailed decision-making documents, teacher resources, professional development opportunities, and technical assistance will be made available.
Before we close today, we want you to know what your next steps are. Don't forget to sign up for the pilot of the TextKia Literacy and Language Screener to ensure your input and feedback is reflected in the process. Click on the link and fill out the Qualtrics survey to get your district name on the list if you're interested. LEAs must choose their 1st and 2nd grade diagnostic instrument for the 2020-2021 school year. This may be TPRI or Tejas Ley, or an alternative research-based and scientifically proven instrument that adheres to the rubric requirements and adopted by their district level committee. The TAA will include attachments of rubrics for each grade level for LEAs to use. Please visit the HB3 page and submit any questions to the HB3 info email. Use the subject line K-2 Diagnostic Tools and send to hb3info@tea.texas.gov.